Hi, so this is to review the area of trapezoids. So make sure that you copy what I do in your notebook. So this will be part of your notebook check. So I'll tell you specifically what I want you to write down, and just keep writing this under where you've been writing it for today with the PowerPoint. So let's get started. So let's just go over what the formula is again. So remember, the formula is area is equal to A plus B divided by 2, and this pen isn't that great, but that's an A plus B divided by 2, and then remember we multiply that by the height. So I want you guys to make sure you copy this down in your notebook. So go ahead and copy the formula down again. So it's A plus B divided by 2 times the height. So remember, let's label this trapezoid. So for this part, you don't have to copy this down in your notebook, but do make sure that you copy down the formula, okay? But remember, so A and B are your bases. So a trapezoid technically has two bases, right? It has this one and this one. So the two parallel lines are your bases. So this is A on top and B is on the bottom. Really, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you put the A on top and the B on the bottom, because we're just going to add them anyway. So it doesn't matter which is which, right? But what does matter is the height. So the height, remember, always has to be straight up and down from the base. So the height for this one, like they don't have it labeled, but it would be something like that. Okay? So again, the second trapezoid, these are your bases. I'm going to label this one B and this one A because remember, it doesn't matter because we are adding them. And again, the height isn't labeled on this one, but it's just, it would be, if it was labeled, it'd be a straight line, just like that, right? So these, like the sides over here, right there, oh, that's an arrow, like that side, it's not, we don't consider that the height because it's slanted. The height has to be straight up and down. And so this last one, this last trapezoid, is a little bit tricky, but same thing with the bases, A and B. And for this one, if you look at this line right here, it is straight up and down, right? So that is our height. So our height is right here, because that one is straight up and down. So guys, remember, you don't have to label this in your notebook, but do make sure you have the formula down. So if you need to pause the video to get the formula, you can. So now we're going to go ahead and solve these. So this should be problem 10 in the whole PowerPoint, okay? So remember, you just need to keep going in order, and this will be problem number 10. So go ahead and label it number 10, and I want you to go ahead and sketch out this trapezoid, okay? So go ahead and sketch out this trapezoid in your notebook, and you might have to pause the video to do that, but sketch it out with the measurements and everything. Okay, so hopefully you have it sketched by now. This will be part of your notebook check, so it should have number 10, and it should have a simple sketch of the trapezoid. It doesn't have to be perfect, but make sure you have the labels. So we're going to go ahead and solve this. So we're actually going to find area and perimeter, so let's just start with perimeter. So remember, perimeter is just the area of the outside, so all we have to do is add up all of our numbers, right? So we have a 5 and a 5. So we have 5 plus 5 plus, and then we have an 8. And then we have a 4. So plus 4. And then when you add those, so 5 plus 5 is 10. And then plus 8 plus 4. So 10 plus 8 is 18. Oh. Plus 4 is 22. So your perimeter is 22, and remember, it's just going to be meters, it's not squared. So I want you guys to go ahead and write this. Okay, so make sure you write all of this that I just did So make sure you show where we added it and got the 22 meters. So go ahead and copy that. And then I'm actually going to erase all of this so that we can have room to find the area. But you copy first so you can pause the video if you need to. Okay, so now I'm erasing. So we have room for the area. Okay, so right underneath where you did perimeter, we're going to go ahead and do area. So remember, I'm going to write out the formula again. You don't have to write out the formula since we just wrote it above. But remember, it's, oh, hang on just a second. It should be a capital A. So we have area is equal to A plus B divided by 2 times the height. So remember I told you A and B are the bases, and it doesn't matter which one is A and which one is B. So we have 5 and 8 are our bases. So give me 1 second. So if I'm plugging this into my formula, so I have area is equal to 5 plus 8 divided by 2 times, and then our height. So remember, the height is the line that is coming straight from the bases, right? So it has to be a straight line. So this line is slanted, so that's not our height because it's slanted. But this line is straight up and down, so that one is our height. So 4 is our height because it's straight up and down. Okay, so times 4. So now all we have to do is solve. So 8 plus 5, that's going to give us 13. Then divided by 2 times 4. So when we divide by 2, all we're going to do is take half of 13. So if you want to use a calculator, you can. But the way I think of it is half of 12 is 6, right? But we have 13. So we would just have to add a 0.5. So 13 divided by 2 is actually 6.5, and I'm going to write it over here. So 6.5. Okay, and then we're going to do that times 4. So I'm going to go ahead and use my calculator and do 6.5 times 4. And you should get 26 meters. And then remember, it is area, so we have to do squared. 26 meters squared. So I know that's a little hard to see, so let me rewrite it over here. So 26 meters squared. So guys, go ahead and make sure that you have this written down. Okay, make sure you show all the work that we did and have the answers with squared. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next page. Okay, so this will be number 11, but what we're going to do right now is I want to do a test to see if you guys are actually paying attention and listening. So what I'm going to do is right now, in just a second, I want you to pause the video. There is a piece of paper on the board, so it should be like on the board with the magnet, right? So it should be in the middle of the board, held up by a magnet. I want you to go and I want you to just put your name on that piece of paper. And everyone that puts their name on that piece of paper, I will know that you guys are paying attention, and you will get a PBIS point. So you don't have to, this one time, you don't have to raise your hand and ask for permission, just this one time. So just quietly get out of your seat at voice level 0, pause the video, and go write your name on that sheet of paper to get your point. Okay, continuing on, we're going to do, so this will be number 11. So we're going to find the perimeter and the area. So perimeter, remember, we're just going to add the outside. So we're going to have 12 plus 14 plus 18 plus 13. So I'm just going to use my calculator to add this up really quick. So 12 plus 14 is going to give me 26. And then 18 plus 13 is going to give me 31. And then when we add the 31 and the 26, you get 57, and it's millimeters. And since it's not area, we don't have to square it. So your answer is 57 millimeters. So go ahead and copy that down. And then I'm going to erase this so I have more room to write. So you can pause the video if you need to. Okay, now for area, I'm going to copy down the formula again. You don't have to since it's written up above, but it's A plus B divided by 2 times the height. So in this case, our bases, remember the bases are the parallel lines, so it's these. So it's 12 and 18. So we're going to have 12 plus 18 divided by 2 times, and then remember the height is whichever line is straight up and down from the bases, so vertical. So the vertical line, right? And so in this case, it's this dotted line right here, straight up and down, which they tell us that is 11. So it is 11 millimeters, so it's going to be times 11. So I'm going to use my calculator for this. So 12 plus 18 is going to give me 30. So I'm just going to come over here. So 12 plus 18 is 30. Then we're going to divide that by 2 in just a second, times 11. So 30 divided by 2 is just going to give me 15, and then times 11. So 15 times 11, I'm just going to throw that in my calculator, gives me 165. So that's the answer, and remember it's going to be millimeters, and since it's area, it is squared. So that's the answer. So guys, go ahead and make sure you have all of this copied, and then continue on with the PowerPoint. There are a few examples for you to do on your own, and make sure you're showing your work, please.